Hey guys, hope everybody's doing good. I'm Justin Owen. I'm the owner of Owen Financial Planning here in San Angelo, Texas. And this is my first video. I wanted to start a series and just kind of give my 2 cents on, some different things going on in the world, talk about investments, budgeting, debt, you name it. But today, with, the two major things going on in the world, or at least in the US, COVID and the election, I wanted to talk about two things that are of huge importance to anyone trying to make their finances better, or become a millionaire or whatever it is that you're wanting to do, and those two things are action and emotion. So let's start with action. um, I know that with COVID and the election, a lot of people are worried and concerned, scared. They have a lot of stress in their life right now. And I certainly don't mean any offense by this next statement, but if that's you, the likely reason for that amount of stress in your life is probably due to the fact that you never took the appropriate action to make sure that your finances were in as good of shape as they should be. And, if that's you, the good news is you can change it. You can change it right now, and it likely wouldn't cost you a dollar. So, the reason most people are in bad financial shape is because they simply buy too much crap they don't need. They spend too much money on stuff that really doesn't add any value to life. And if that's you, change it. I love listening to like, Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar and these inspirational people. And no matter who you listen to, they usually have one common theme. They talk about a million different things, but one common theme they talk about is if you want to make anything better, regardless of what it is, lose weight, your marriage, your finances, you have to act on it. If you don't act, then nothing will ever change. You'll continue to get the results you have now. And most people fail to plan. And that's unfortunate because it costs nothing to make a plan. So if you do one thing today to make your life better, regardless of what it is, your marriage, your finances, your weight, whatever, uh, write down your goals. Stop thinking about them and dreaming about them and wondering what could be. Stop that. It's a waste of time. Write it down and put it on your calendar. And once you have it there, act on it. Even if it's a little bit of action, act. One saying that I love because it makes perfect sense is don't look at the mountain, just take the first step. And that is so helpful. The second thing I want to talk about is emotion. So I'm a financial planner. I handle investments and risk tolerance, asset allocation, budgeting, all that stuff. But the biggest enemy, at least in my opinion, the biggest enemy to someone's financial health, as far as their retirement accounts are concerned, or any investment account, is emotion. All your big boys have done a huge amount of research on this topic. So, Vanguard, DFA, TD Ameritrade, Schwab, Fidelity, you name it, they have put a huge amount of research into what happens when investors get emotional. And it's almost always bad. And by almost always, I mean like 98% of the time, when investments and emotion come together, bad things usually happen. And they happen because people ignore history. Now, they don't mean to, they're trying to do what's better for them. And we don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we do know what's happened in the past. And so when you're looking at issues like COVID, or the election, you have to stop and keep some perspective. Okay, so have we ever dealt with COVID before? No, but we've dealt with disease before. Elections, we've had several, and we're going to have several more. The world and the US are no exception to huge problems. We've had multiple big problems in the past that I would argue are much bigger than what we're going through right now. World War II, Vietnam, the 2008 financial crisis, Black Monday. I could list off I could ramble off a list of problems that we've had in the past that are arguably were much more significant than what we're dealing with today. So remember what's happened yesterday and where we are today. And keep the perspective. Don't miss the forest for the trees, because so many people don't fall into that trap. And another big trap people fall into, and it's one that really agitates me more than anything, and I know you feel the same, is stop getting your information from the media. And I know that everyone has their own political bias, or opinion. I have mine. But I think we can all agree that the media, they don't care what you think. They're going to give their opinion and they're going to shove it down your throat. They just want eyeballs on the TV. That's all that's important to them. So, if you're going to watch the news, take it with a grain of salt, because they're oftentimes wrong. Um, so, when it comes to emotions and investments, I say they almost always yield bad results, because they almost always do. So, what's a better strategy? Well, a better strategy is one, when it comes to investments, make sure you have the appropriate investments selected for you. I mean, it really is that simple. And if you don't know what investments to select, ask a financial advisor, ask somebody that you trust, that you believe knows how to pick good, high quality investments. If you're bad in an area of life, find someone that's good in that area and gain some wisdom from them. But once you've got some good, high quality investments and you understand what they should do over the long term and what your returns should look like, leave them alone. Don't mess with them. Don't time the market. I know you're going to hear people say, yeah, we, bought into XYZ and we killed it. Take that with a grain of salt too. Okay. Most people are all too happy to tell you about the huge gains or returns they got. But when was the last time somebody told you, man, I bought this security and I got run over like a freight train? They're not going to tell you that. So they're going to tell you all the times they pulled the slot machine lever. No, they're not going to tell you about all the times. They're just going to tell you about that one time that they won it. So ignore the noise. Get a coach that can really truly help you along in this journey. But when it comes to investments and emotion, again, ignore the noise. If your investments, your good high quality investments that someone that knows what they're doing helped you pick, if they start to go down, don't panic, don't look at it, just leave it alone. They'll come back. Um, and when it comes to the election, I know, people have some pretty strong emotions, political emotions, one way or the other. I would tell you this: people think if Trump gets elected or Biden gets elected, you're going to see a market crash. It could be the end of the country and blah blah blah. Think of the world, if you will, as one big hospital. Okay, and every country in the world is a patient in the hospital. The United States is the least sick patient in the building. We really are. We have our problems. There's no doubt about that. But we are the healthiest one in the bunch. And when you look at other developed nations, France, Germany, Spain, England, they do have a socialist tilt or influence. They're not full socialist countries, but they do have that influence. And they are sicker than we are. There is no arguing that they are. But their markets still return money. And there's no evidence based reason why you shouldn't be invested globally. And anybody that tells you that there is wrong. There's a reason Warren Buffett and Ray Dalio and Jack Bogle. There's a reason, and those, if you don't know who those are three of the finest investors the world has ever known. There's a reason they had global portfolios. There's a reason they don't just have real estate, because their actions and what they do are rooted in evidence-based approaches. So take some action to make your situation better, especially where it doesn't cost any money. And when it comes to your investments, the ultimate goal is to make as much money as you can, right? Well, Make sure you have those high quality investments and leave them alone and let time in the market work for you. Don't worry about timing the market. Worry about time in the market, because that's where the important stuff is. So again, take action, ignore the noise, don't let your emotions dictate your actions, because that's always going to lead you down a bad road. And if you want some help, feel free to reach out, shoot me a message. I'd love to talk with you. And best of luck to you. Yeah, again, don't let the election stress you out more than it should. And I appreciate you watching. Wish you all the best of luck to you and your family, and I'll catch you next time.